What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome back to another episode of After Credits. As you can tell, I'm alone. I am camera person because it is really hot, and if I leave my camera on the dash, the camera's gonna explode. That's just the law of movie reviewing nature. What am I all alone for? I'm alone, of course, for Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. I'm behind the theater. It's pretty hot outside. Here in Texas, it's 92, so I decided to park here to get some shade. One of our new subscribers, Animation Street Network, commented and said, "When are y'all gonna review Captain Underpants?" And based on the trailer, like I do with pretty much every DreamWorks movie, I was dreading it. I was looking at this like, God, this is just gonna be some pop culture rape of my childhood, friggin' Kevin Hart playing a 10-year-old. And like most DreamWorks movies, I was proven wrong. This movie's actually really, really good. I stopped reading the Captain Underpants books around number 7, and so I want to say that's like 5th grade to 6th grade, and I was surprised at how much I picked up on in the background, in the foreground, tiny references, obvious references, bits of dialogue, as to the point where I could predict the lines that were coming up next, and it didn't make me mad. It made me happy because this made me remember a part of my childhood where these were the first series of books that got me into storytelling. This was the series of books that made me want to write my own little comic books and try Flip-O-Rama, create 5-page serials about stupid characters that I would just rip wholesale from the things that I loved. I legitimately explained a character once as saying he's a mix of SpongeBob, Goku, Wolverine, and Crash Bandicoot. And by God, I made sure all those illustrations were in there. And that's what I loved about Captain Underpants, that it felt like it was a book made by kids for kids. But because, you know, Dav Pilkey's a grown-ass man, he kind of did a Trojan horse for teaching kids to appreciate storytelling and to appreciate creativity and collaboration and use all this to build something better than yourself. The movie has that spirit in mind. Written, by the way, by the guy who did Neighbors and Neighbors 2. What the fuck are you wasting your time on? My biggest complaint with this going in was going to be Kevin Hart as George. And I didn't mind. After a while, you kind of just get used to it, and you actually do forget a little bit that he's Kevin Hart. It kind of reminds me of the Peanuts movie a little bit, because that one, again, based on a literary series, kind of took the style of that series and really went for it. And they basically updated that to the new digital format. And so you do see callbacks to sort of the pen and pencil style of the book, but there are also stuff that isn't that pen and pencil style, but it's definitely updated for CG. And I liked how the filmmakers just took whatever they could and threw it on screen, just like in Boss Baby, just like in Trolls. DreamWorks is one of those studios that I think their trademark now is just energy, and any idea goes. If you want to go back to the days where you thought pee and poop jokes were fucking hysterical, this movie kind of gets you in that frame of mind. If Dav Pilkey's books were a Trojan horse on storytelling, the film is kind of a Trojan horse to nostalgia. I'm too old for pee and poop jokes, how witless. No, this movie is that classic example of it's not what you do that's good, it's how you do it. And there's so much passion thrown into this that you can't deny it. You can't deny the amount of fun that you're having watching this bumbling idiot bounce around the city fighting toilets and guys named after shitting yourself. So I'm gonna go into a couple spoilers here, not really any big ones, but I'm gonna go into a couple spoilers here. So if you don't want to know anything and just final thoughts and scores out of 6 stars, scroll to the time code on my nose. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get into it. There's a lot of fan service. I want to talk about those first. The one that caught me off guard that I forgot that I remembered was There's a sequence when Harold is imagining what the future will be like when Principal Krupp splits him and George in separate classrooms. Done in puppetry, by the way. All puppetry. So he holds up, in the CG style, he holds up his little hands like sock puppets, and then it turns into actual sock puppets with sticks and little wires. You can see that. It helps with that sort of DIY, it's fun to see the illusion broken a little bit style. And they're running around in a mall, and you see Harold and George, and Harold's wearing a little suit as a puppet. They're like robots, and they're actual model robots, and they shoot CG lasers at each other. It's fun to see all these little elements come together in a scene that amounts to pretty much a Family Guy cutaway joke. This movie definitely is kind of birthed in the spirit of stuff that would have cutaway jokes like that, but it's done with so much imagination that you can't help but admire it. But in the background of the mall, you see the store, everything except fabric softener. And as soon as I saw that, like, immediate friggin' like stab your funny bone right in the good spot. Back to my childhood when I was reading Wrath of the Wicked Wedgie Woman. This movie's kind of adapted from the first 4 books, so you see elements sliding in between the both. You've got Professor Poopy Pants in the origin story. You've got the radioactive kitchen cafeteria goo that gives Captain Underpants his superpowers. I don't know if that's it. I don't remember all of the details, but they kind of just blend these things together. And for the most part, I noticed that the fan service was just in line, that everything was just as it needed to be. There are 2 noteworthy exceptions, though. One, they never call Professor Poopy Pants Tippy Tinkle Trousers. They give him a separate name. I think it's Pee-Pee Diarrhea Steen Esquire. Poopy Pants. They never call him Tippy Tinkle Trousers. I think they hint at it in the credits, but they only do the TT emblem, which is a little odd. That, and the Turbo Toilet 2000 doesn't have teeth until the very, very end of the movie. And even then, that's not the turbo toilet, it's like the tiny toilets. But they say yum yum eat 'em up. So it's stuff like that, little throwaway lines that you don't remember that you forgot until you hear it again, and then boom! It's, again, that jolt back to your childhood. I was like, oh shit, I remember that. Something that I like about this movie, and like all of Pilkey's novels, it was incredibly silly material, but there was a strong emotional foundation to it. In the first 30 minutes of this movie, where all the jokes are on fire, you've got this emphasis on George and Harold's friendship, and you get to really see that blossom. You get to feel how much they respect each other as collaborators, friends, and pranksters. One of my favorite scenes is when they're just writing and drawing a comic, and George will write something down and he'll throw it as a paper airplane to Harold and goes, oh, tell me what you think of this. He looks at it, he goes, oh man, I can't wait to draw this. And then he would throw him designs back, and then they would kind of collaborate on that. You know, it's weird. We talk a lot about movies being made by committee. We talk about cynical cash grabs, but this movie relishes in the spirit of 2 people just wanting to make something. And that creative process is kind of the lifeblood that carries through this movie. You've also got this personal story about trying to help your lonely principal, that maybe your principal is an asshole, not just because he's an asshole, but because there's some shit going on. Maybe he doesn't have anybody else. When they hypnotize Captain Underpants, knock him out, and then they have to turn him to Krupp and put him inside Krupp's bed. When they go through the house, it's filmed as a dour-ass scene. Principal Krupp has these creepy fucking smiles that, like, his mouth is quite literally 60% of his face, so these giant grins that pop up, and there's one scene where he's about to smile, and you can hear that it, like, hurts him a little bit, because he just cracks it by inch, goes, it's simultaneously creepy and fucking hilarious. I was reading, I think I might link this article below, that other DreamWorks movies and animation properties can go upwards of like 100 million budget to 200 million budget. This was outsourced to a company in Montreal, and its total budget's 38 million. It feels right for this story that's not polished. It's not about high art or high literature. It's about the passion behind it. It's kind of like watching Plan 9 from Outer Space or something like The Room, where you can tell the creative process was just weird as fuck, but the important part is that you have a love for what you're doing. To go into acting real quick, I was surprised at how much I liked Ed Helms in this, as both Principal Krupp and Captain Underpants, two totally night and day characters, and he pulls it off. I haven't really seen Ed Helms handle this kind of range, and as a voice actor, I was surprised at how much I totally bought into it from the very beginning. Kevin Hart takes a little bit longer to get used to, and that's because Kevin Hart has that distinct voice and it's Kevin Hart, but he is a good actor. There's a part at the end of the movie where they alter their voices digitally to go a little bit higher, and I like that idea better, maybe an Alvin and the Chipmunks style, just kind of digitally alter it, just a little bit, not a lot. Nick Kroll as Professor Poopy Pants, holy shit. From Sausage Party to this guy is a fantastic voice actor. I love the little German accent that he pulls off. He is a raging dick, but he has those funny moments. He does laugh at stuff, and you do get this sense that the reason he's evil is because of some Joker-style psychotic breakdown. Also, Flip-O-Rama. I love when they threw Flip-O-Rama in there because Captain Underpants is about to get stomped by Turbo Toilet, and they're like, whoa, we can't show this to you, but we can show it to you in this little Flip-O-Rama bit. And that was just the perfect time to throw it in there. That was a nice segue into that without feeling forced at all. You do feel like you're, in a way, a part of this movie, not necessarily just watching it. George and Harold do break the fourth wall a lot, and it does help with that. So if you look at the core of Captain Underpants, which is the silliness, the creativity, the interaction, you feel it's done well. It's not done perfectly. As I said, the first part of the movie is where it's on fire, but afterwards, when Captain Underpants gets introduced, not all the jokes land, and there's some filler, there's some dance sequences, which are just kind of... It's a brisk movie. It's not even 90 minutes. So I had a fucking great-ass time with this. So if you scroll to the time code, welcome back. This is final thoughts and scores for Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. Whenever you say something like the first epic movie, you gotta come to town and really bring your A game. And you know what? They brought their B+ game. It's just a good movie. I'm really excited to see a sequel. I cannot believe I'm saying that about an animated movie. Like, I'm excited to see more of this style, more of these themes played with in silly ways. I thought the cast was great. I thought the animation was inventive and fun, and this movie is just a blast. It's not the best movie, and it's not necessarily the funniest movie. I still kind of put that at Lego Batman this year. This is probably the best Captain Underpants movie we could have ever hoped for. Because I remember I stopped reading around 6th grade. That was around 2005. It's almost 15 years later, and the fact that they made a movie that respects the fans and the book and still feels fresh and really ready to carry on its own legs to a new generation is kind of astounding. As long as that spirit is intact, you can make movies about fucking anything. And I think that's what the books emphasized, and hopefully that's what, I forgot the director's name. I want to say Doug Soren, but I think the first name's wrong. I'll put it right here. Hopefully that's what everybody's willing to do. I'm gonna go 4.5. Again, some of the parts drag, so that's what kind of dragged me from completely enjoying this, but 4.5 out of 6 stars. It is a damn fun time. Take your kids, grab your candy, get nuts, embrace your silly stupid for a while, but embrace the silly stupid that's done well. So if you like this video, click the like button down below. Next to it is the subscribe button with the little bell icon. Make sure you'll be the first one to know when new content is up. As far as social media, I've got Facebook, I've got Twitter, I've got Instagram. We've got all those links below. My friend Liam, who's not here because he's in Chicago and he couldn't swim fast enough, He has a blog too, liammgahan.wordpress.com. Go ahead and check out his reviews there. My friend Noah is the Cinema Geek on Instagram. He just saw Wonder Woman, so check out his thoughts on the movie down below. Spoiler alert, I think he likes it more than we did. We've got WWE Extreme Rules coverage coming later tonight or tomorrow. We're covering Raw and SmackDown, so if you're interested in those things, definitely keep your eyes and ears peeled for those. Viewer's choice, we've got, this is going to be a weird segue in a Captain Underpants movie. We've got a Serbian film for viewer's choice. You know, if you want to recommend movies to us, any kind of movie, we'll take cartoons too, screw it. As for next time on After Credits, we're going to be covering The Mummy, the Tom Cruise Dark Universe starter for Universal's Monsterverse. And then we've also got the horror movie It Comes at Night, which is supposed to be this tense, terrifying, critically acclaimed movie with Joel Edgerton, and I love Joel Edgerton, so I'm excited. But until we do any and all of those things, thank you very, very much for watching. Thanks to Animation Street Network for pushing me to continually go see a good movie, and you know what? We'll see you guys later. Take care.